Good morning. Let's hear that. That's it. Let's try that again. Good morning. Woo! Welcome to Unity of Columbus. I'm going to invite us all to stand up for this one. It's number 314 in your hymnal. He's got the whole world in his hands. 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 One more time. He's got the whole world in his hands. He's got the whole world in his hands. He's got the whole world in his hands. He's got the whole wide world in his hands. He's got you and me, brother, in his hands. He's got you and me, sister, in his hands. He's got you and me, brother, in his hands. He's got the whole world in his hands. He's got my soul and body in his hands. He's got my soul and body in his hands. He's got my soul and my body in his hands. He's got the whole wide world in his hands. He's got the whole world. He's got the whole world in his hands. He's got the whole world in his hands. He's got the whole world in his hands. He's got the whole wide world in his hands. Let's hear your hands clap. Let's take it to church.
Yes, feel that glorious energy. Welcome, everyone. You are the light of the world. When Jesus spoke these words, he did so from an awareness that we have an unlimited source of light. The indwelling Christ is represented by the symbol of light. And I would light our Christ candle this morning as a reminder of our responsibility to keep our own light brilliantly shining. And we invite everyone joining us remotely to create your own sacred space right where you are by lighting your own Christ candle. And now let us together take a deep breath. And know that we are our breath. We are that light of the Christ in the world. And divine Father, Mother God, in whom we move and have being, we give thanks for this glorious, beautiful, wonderful gift of a day. We give thanks for all the good in our lives. And we recognize that Holy Spirit that guides us to our highest and best for ourselves and for our world. Amen.
Amen.
Again, good morning. Darren started us off, but hey, everybody, let's hear it. Good morning.
Yeah.
Yeah. Welcome to Unity of Columbus. My name is Jewel Lean Henson, and I am one of the licensed teachers here at Unity of Columbus. And it is my great joy to welcome you to our Sunday celebration. Our minister is Reverend Dan Holloway, and our speaker today is the lovely Miss Michelle Cole. And her topic topic this morning is where there is a will, there is a way. And I'll be introducing her a little bit later on in our service. But now join me in our statement of faith. I'll repeat it once and then we'll say it together. There is only one presence and one power in the universe and in my life. God the good, all love. Let's say that together. There is only one presence and one power in the universe and in my life. God the good, all love. And I invite you to, for a moment, take another breath and focus your mind on one thought in that statement. Hold it in consciousness. And let's take it again together. There is only one presence and one power in the universe and in my life. God the good, all love. Unity is a way of life. We work together in divine partnership with one another and with Spirit. We work to achieve a vision that lets us affirm together. United in spirit, we are a loving community, co-creating a world of peace, abundance, and joy for all. We are also a mission-centric, value-focused ministry. Through our services, classes, and other programs, we fulfill this mission. And again, let us affirm together. With God as our source, unity of Columbus inspires people to realize and express their divine nature in an awakening world. And we also answer the call of Spirit, for we are creative, authentic, learning, and loving. These are our core values, the very DNA of our spiritual community. Will you join me in affirming I answer the call of Spirit? Together.
I answer the call of Spirit.
And this morning, our board president, Sidney Shear. Oh, Veronica, I'm sorry. Got it a little mixed up. Please come forward and read our daily word. We are the Church of the Daily Word.
Good morning, Unity.
Good morning.
Today's daily word for August 28th is purpose. Over the course of my life, I have discovered what has kindled my passions, captivated my attention, and made me feel more alive. My passions lead me to discover my purpose, to which I choose to devote my time and my life. My highest spiritual purpose is to live from my divine nature. My divine gifts of life, love, and wisdom expressed uniquely through my passions, fulfilling me while demonstrating the truth of my being. I listen to the still, small voice of Spirit within to discern the best way to fulfill my purpose. I heed its call to learn, discover, and grow. It is never too early or too late to embark upon the journey of a lifetime. I am ready, willing, and more than able. And the Bible verse is, "For this I was born, and for this I came into the world, to testify to the truth." That's John 18:37. Now the affirmation is, I pursue my purpose with passion. Let's say that together. I pursue my purpose with passion. And so it is. Thank you.
Thank you.
And so it is. Thank you, Veronica. Affirmative prayer is the foundation of all that we do here at Unity. If you have a prayer request, you may place a written prayer request in our prayer box after the service. Or for those joining us online, visit unityofcolumbus.org and under Connect, click Prayer Request. You can also call 1-816-969-2000 for one-on-one prayer support from Silent Unity. Silent Unity is located in the Summit, Missouri in Unity Village, and it is our prayer ministry. Now let us take a moment to pray as a community. We open the way to experiencing the presence and power of God by letting go of the past. We can choose this moment to be free. Through the gift and blessings of forgiveness, I invite you to affirm after me. I forgive and I am free. Together, I forgive and I am free. And so we are free to pray with one another and for others. We join in heart and mind with Silent Unity, holding the high watch in our world, our community, and in ourselves. We know that all prayers are answered and that it is not I, but the Christ within that does the work. With God as our source, we let go and give thanks for this opportunity to commune from our innermost self to pray together. Thank you, God. Amen.
For our meditation song, let us affirm, God is, I am. And those are the words, God is, I am. Right here, right now. And then you repeat it backwards, right here, right now. God is, I am. Here we go. God is, I am. Right here, right now, right here, right now. God is, I am. God is, I am. Right here, right now, right here, right now. God is, I am. God is, I am. Right here. Right now, right here, right now, God is, I am.
Good morning. Today's meditation is on the power of will, and I borrowed this from the book Divine Audacity by Linda Martella Whitsett. In the brain's frontal lobe lies the energy vortex for the power of spiritual will. Concentrate your attention on this area responsible for executive functioning, such as the ability to focus verbally and visually, to remember and make connections between ideas, and of course, the power to choose. Shine a silver light that represents will. Shine that light through the front of your brain, across your forehead and up to the crown of your head. Clear away any busy brain, any preconceived notions, and any false imaginings. Centered in spiritual will, we affirm the capacity to choose. We choose the highest and best in all circumstances. We affirm the capacity to commit. We commit to being a light in this world. And we affirm our willingness. We are willing to attune to the source of all good. Shine that silver light from your head down and emanate it from head to toe as we enter into a period of silence. Returning from the silence, we express gratitude for the time that we have spent connecting to our divine Creator. As you go about your days ahead, remember to remain conscious of the choices that you make and how much easier it is when you connect with the divine. Amen.
Amen.
Thank you, Michelle. Michelle Coles is a third-year student of the Masters of Divinity program through Unity Worldwide Spiritual Institute. She is a leader in her spiritual community at Unity Spiritual Center in Westlake, Ohio, and has been practicing Unity principles for the past 10 years. She serves as a prayer chaplain leader, technical consultant, and platform assistant, as well as coordinating different events and activities of the church. Her favorite power is the power of elimination. Michelle has a passion to help others clear their physical and mental clutter using spiritual tools that she has learned from Denise Lynn and Louise Hay, and through the teachings of New Thought. She loves to laugh, have fun, and be of service. Help me welcome our speaker this morning, Michelle Coles.
Thank you. Good morning. Is this good? Okay, I'm gonna have to just stand a little closer to it. So, she did say that my favorite power was the power of elimination, but that's not what we're going to talk about today. What I thought we could focus on today was the power of will. And for me, life works better when I seek divine guidance. I often make choices based on fear or on other people's opinions or directions. I still remember one time that I was trying to decide whether I wanted to buy a couch or not. It took me 3 years to make that decision because I just couldn't make up my mind. That seems a little silly now that I think about it. But some of the decisions that I've made in my life have come from reaching in and looking at what I feel is right for me and for my community. So I started my journey about 5 years ago with Unity, taking spiritual education and enrichment classes. And I started taking them for credit because I didn't know for sure what I wanted to do, but I knew that it was important in my decision making. And then at some point I decided that I wanted to attend ministerial school. And God willing, that will happen in the next 2 years, maybe 3. I'm only going part-time, so I'm not sure exactly how long that's going to take me, but like I said, God willing. You know, we use that term, God willing, in our daily speech, but do we really know what that means? Does it mean that we're just leaving everything up to God? Does it mean that we're hoping that everything turns out the way we expect it to? I think it's both and, a little of both. So my core message today is, where there's a will, there is a way. And when I think of that, I think about athletes and celebrities and stuff, and people that are like, well, you know, I gave it my best, I did my best work, I practiced, I continued to visualize that success, and then I made it. And then I made it through to the other side. But one of the things that I remember in a lot of speeches that people have given about their successes is that they usually attribute it to their higher power. And that's what we want to remember today. So Charles Fillmore, our co-founder of Unity, calls will the executive power of man. It is the one power that works with all the other powers, or the faculties that we have within us, and it activates them. And for those of you that don't know, we have 12 powers. Some say we have more than that, but I'm going to go with the 12 original. And spiritual will is the power of choice, the power of commitment, and willingness. So when I think about when I think about will, I think about what is mine to do. So will is the decision-making part of our brain. It is the part right up at the front of our frontal cortex. And it allows us to see and make decisions and make choices. But it's also sitting right next to understanding, if you follow where the 12 powers are. So it's usually after you become understanding about what it is that you want to do and how to do it. Once you have created space in your heart for the love of what you want, once you open up to that divine connection, that's when your power of will is activated and you make choices based on your divine intelligence and not just what you heard somebody say to do. So if you broke down everything that you think of that goes into an activity, nope, I'm on the wrong page, I'm sorry. I didn't number them. Will is the great permission giver. It gives permission for all the other powers to take place, like I said. And its most important decision that we can make is to be willing toward divine will, to allow divine guidance to help us and direct us toward a better life. So we know that God's will is always good. It is clear, it is decisive, and it is certain. And it produces positive results in our lives. Where there is a will, there is a way. We offer the ability to create our world when we go within and when we instill and activate that divine will. So that will doesn't mean just submitting to our human will or the human will of others. And we need to understand the difference. So Charles Fillmore says, "It is error for anyone to submit his will to the control of any personality. The personal exercise of will by personal understanding is short-sighted and selfish. Hence, it is never safe to allow oneself to be led by the direction or advice of another. Practice the presence of God until you open up your consciousness to the inflow of the omnipresent, all-knowing mind, and then affirm your unity with that mind until you know and fully realize just what you should do." I think that's very important to understand, but at the same time, when we make choices every day, we're not always sitting and waiting and pausing on what we're going to do. So we still need to be present to our surroundings, present to the moment, and create a consciousness for ourselves where we're always kind of tapped into that divine nature. We have the power of commitment to, the power of will is part of our power of commitment. So once you have made a decision, it's staying focused and staying in that helps you. So for instance, with my studies in ministerial school, I have had a couple of semesters that I needed to take some time off because I was going through some grief and just a little bit of overwhelm. Things, kind of got me going. And what I did was I decided to take time off from school. So I took 2 semesters off. And then I stepped back from some of my responsibilities at my church. But the most important thing that I did was I started journaling and writing every day about my things that were on my mind. I spent more time in the silence and more time in prayer. So I was able to get more clear about what it is that I really wanted to do and where I wanted to be. And if you remember, when you think about Jesus and all the things that he did in his lifetime, he spent many times in prayer. So he taught us the Our Father, or the Lord's Prayer, where he says, "Thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven." And metaphysically, we know that the earth is our physical world and heaven is our spiritual world. So what we do is important not only in the physical, but in the spiritual realm as well. It is one of our most important prayers that he taught us. In the Garden of Gethsemane, he also prayed for willingness. He said, "Father, if you are willing, remove this cup from me, yet not my will, but yours be done." He let go of any outcome and gave it to God. He knew that his strength was in that divine creator. And that is why Jesus is our way shower. He gives us the ingredients to create our own world. So, why is it important that we study the 12 powers and study will? Well, I know from my experience that I make rash decisions sometimes. I don't think things all the way through. I know that sometimes I take the advice of others. And in the past, that has been a really big motivator for me, is if other people have said, oh, you should do this, or oh, you'd be really good at this. But I also have some people sometimes that say, oh, you shouldn't. Maybe this isn't the right thing for you. Maybe we're not, maybe you're not ready for this. And so I've had to go within and I've had to really discern for myself what is mine to do. And I chose to pursue the ministry. I chose to continue to do this work. Now I know today I probably seem a little nervous. I have my family here in the audience with me today, and this is the first time they've come to see me. So I'm a little nervous because of that, but that's okay because I'm glad that they're here. I'm glad that they get to see where I come from and how I present myself. So one of the things that I wanted to talk about was how we can create that sense of will. How can we make those improvements in our lives? And I wanted to talk about, where is this word? The law of marginal gains. I don't know if any of you have ever heard of this. It's kind of a business term, but it's also scientifically shown. It's the philosophy of searching for a tiny margin of improvement in everything you do. So when I make my decisions, like I want to be healthy, so I'm going to exercise and I'm going to work out and I'm going to drink more water and I'm going to eat a vegan diet and I'm going to do all this stuff. Doesn't that sound overwhelming? It sounds like a lot. It sounds like I don't know if I can start that. So I might like put my shoes on. I got my running shoes on. I can go for a walk. But I might not remember to drink extra water. But if you break down everything that you think of that can go into an activity, and the law of marginal gain says that you improve it by just 1%, that you will get a significant increase when you put it all together. So maybe I go ahead and put my shoes on that day, but I don't go for the walk. But I've gotten a little bit further. Once I get used to putting my shoes on every day and making that commitment to going outside and taking that walk, I'm going to keep doing that for a while and practice. One of the things that I found easiest for me was just adding 2 extra glasses of water a day, because I think of 8 as a lot. And I do drink liquids, but I don't necessarily drink healthy ones. I'm a Diet Coke girl myself. So what I've decided that I need to do is I need to drink water in between each Diet Coke that I have. And that has made it a lot easier for me to increase my value and increase my percentages, my marginal gain. I started cooking more food for myself because during COVID, being single, I just lived by myself. And I didn't really necessarily want to go to the store because, you know, it was scary to go to the store. But you could order food, and I ordered DoorDash and Uber Eats and Grubhub. They were my favorite places. And when I didn't show up, they called me and asked me what I wanted. I also had my favorite pizza place. They send me a Christmas card every year. That's not necessarily a good thing, but it made me laugh for the first couple years that happened. But now I have decided, well, I don't need to eat pizza every Friday. And I can cook my own meals at least once a week. And I've ordered one of those food delivery things. HelloFresh is the one that I've chosen. So it gives me all the ingredients that I need to create something. It's not like they give me the food and I just throw it in the microwave or the oven and heat it up, but it actually has me cook it. And what I've found is that it's created more creativity in my life because I get to experiment with new sauces and new ingredients and things that I might not have ever done before. And they give me just enough to make 2 meals in each recipe. So it's not overwhelming. I'm not making like a huge lasagna and then having to eat lasagna for like a month. But my point is that 1% just makes all the difference in the world. Now, what is 1% of 24 hours? It is 14.4 minutes. That's it. A 15-minute time frame. So if we took time to connect to the divine, to get quiet, to do a guided meditation, to journal, or simply just to sit in the silence, we would be increasing and making improvements in our lives that greatly outweighs if you don't do it at all. 15 minutes. And what I've done is, and what I know is that it doesn't have to be 15 minutes all in a row, which isn't a lot of time, but like I work full time and I go to school and I do stuff for my church. So 15 minutes for me is, you know, getting ready for bed or making my dinner, or so I have to schedule things that I want to do. So what I've done is I've taken 5 minutes out of every hour, and that helps me center and refocus because I'm at work all day. So that 5 minutes is spent just sitting in the silence or listening to a song that motivates me, or writing out some notes on some things that I thought that I needed to do. I think it's very important that you also use that time to think about what you would like to do with your day and with your life. And if you just take 15 minutes at a time, you can become more willing to be open to what the divine has in store for you. Learning to activate the divine will in your life does not mean that you submit to the human will of others. There are many inharmonies in human relationships that result from the clash of human wills. We see it right now with the war going on in Russia and Ukraine. Very strong-willed. They're not necessarily using that power of divine will to make their choices. So if each one of us took time to get focused and to become more clear on what is ours to do and how to make a difference in the world, we could increase the world by 1%. I don't know what that number is. I didn't do the math. Let's say if there's 8 billion people, we would need 800 million people to make that choice. But it's not that many if we each take our part and do it. Where there is a will, there is a way. We can always make up our minds to do something. We can always make sure that it aligns with what we believe in and who we are. Or we could just make decisions willy-nilly. I remember, what was that movie called? It was Jim Carrey, and I think it was called Yes Man. In that movie, he learns that he has to say yes to everything, regardless of whether it is the right thing to do or not. And he has to say yes the whole time. So if somebody says, do you want to learn how to skydive? He has to say yes. Do you want to learn how to play the guitar? Yes. And it goes through a comedy of errors. You know, he finds out what works for him and what doesn't. But in the end, he realizes that he needs to pay attention and become more conscious of the choices that he's making. You know, he doesn't mention God as his source, but you know he makes a difference. You know that he chooses differently at the end because he's being more conscious of those choices. I really like that movie because it's funny and it's Jim Carrey, but it also teaches us about the power of our will. So as I said before, we know that God's will is always good. We know that it is clear and that it is decisive and certain, and it produces positive results. So if we're doing something that isn't necessarily going in a positive direction, maybe we should rethink that. Maybe go within and look at that power of will. Seek inner wisdom. Look at the power of love and the power of life. Use all of those faculties and then use will to execute and take action on them. So I usually end with a spiritual practice. What I encourage you to do is to see what you can do to increase your marginal gain by 1%. What can you do in 15 minutes or 5 minutes at a time that would make a difference in your life? Because when you meditate for 15 minutes a day, for 365 days a year, for the next 10 years, you've already increased your well-being exponentially. And I think that's really important. So I encourage you all to do that. And I thank you for listening to me today. Thank you.
Thank you, Michelle, for sharing so much of your own life journey and yourself with us. And I have a number of takeaways that I'll definitely move into my life. Again, thank you. And now is the time in our service when we tithe the gifts of our treasure. We prosper through the act of giving. Our ministry is supported fully by your tax-deductible tithes, gifts, and love offerings. We are so grateful for you. We live in an abundant universe, and I invite you to affirm with me our offering blessing. I'll speak it once and invite you to repeat it. Divine love as me blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. And I am grateful. Together, divine love as me blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. And I am grateful. And again, we give thanks to Michelle for that inspiring message. And we thank all of you for joining us this morning. We give thanks to all of you who make this Sunday service the wonderful experience that it is each week, especially our board members. We give thanks for our music and technical director, Jim Maneri. And we give thanks for Darren this morning for leading us in song. And we do have a few announcements this morning. Today, we do have our annual pilgrimage to Pagetown, Ohio, which is the birthplace of Myrtle Fillmore. We're going to leave at 1 o'clock, and we'll be departing from here. Oh, wait a minute. You think we'll get there at 1 o'clock if we depart at 12:30? Sorry about that. Don't be late. We're going to leave at 12:30. And we'll be there by 1. Our midweek renewal book discussion is Myrtle Fillmore's How to Let God Help You. And that continues through October the 26th. It starts at 6:30 with meditation, and then we have a 1-hour book discussion. Next Sunday is September the 4th. We're having a special membership meeting, which will start at 1 o'clock. And one of our more important annual events is the Unity World Day of Prayer. It will span September the 7th through the 8th. And there will be more input for you and activities that this church will be sponsoring at a later date. I'd also like to give thanks, though, to Terry and Larry. They're sitting right there. Hold up your hands. Together, they spread 88 bags of mulch on our property. Our grounds look wonderful, so thank you both so much. And I encourage everyone that wants to take a tour of some lovely days, some wonderful meditation spaces out there now. Thanks again. Thank you. And again, because we're having our special congregational meeting on September the 4th, and that's going to occur after service. Shirley Williams, hold your hand, Shirley, is one of our licensed teachers here. She's asked that we move our women's group's book discussion, Wild Mercies, to September the 11th instead of the 4th. And those are our announcements. I don't think there's anything else. I don't have anything else. Our board president is sitting and shaking her head, so we don't have anything else. Let us stand and affirm our prayer for protection. The light of God surrounds us. The love of God enfolds us. The power of God protects us. The presence of God watches over us. Wherever we are, God is, and all is well. In closing, let us raise our consciousness one person, one mind, one heart, one soul at a time. And by turning to face each other, let us sing our closing song, Let There Be Peace on Earth.
It's number 3. 3, if you don't know, number 3. Let there be peace on earth and let it begin with me. Let there be peace on earth, the peace that was meant to be. With God as creator, family all are we. Let us walk with each other in perfect harmony. Let peace begin with me. Let this be the moment now. With every step I take, let this be my joyous vow. To take each moment and live each moment in peace eternally. Let there be peace on earth and let it begin with
Our closing affirmation is an affirmation for Will. I am willing, open, and receptive to living a life of truth. I consciously choose what will support my greatest good. Anchored in the absolute, I choose joy, love, creativity, peace, and beauty before all else.
Amen.